Welcome to Combat Sports in Africa. Our guest is joining us from Port Louis, Mauritius. We've got the president of the Mixed Martial Arts Federation, Mauritius, Mr. Avinash Ramtohul. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much for this invitation. It's a pleasure meeting you.
Yes, it's a
nice discussion.
Yeah, it's certainly a pleasure meeting you as well. We're looking forward to this exchange and finding out more about MMA development in the island of Mauritius. First and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself and your history with martial arts and combat sports, please.
So basically, I started the martial arts in 1982, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, Shotokan. Then in 87, I started the Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, traditional one. And so far now, I'm a black belt, first dan in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu. And around some years after, so I started the BJJ grappling. And I'm also a kettlebell teacher, so CKT level 1 with IKFF. I did coaching in wrestling, the level 1. I also have a diploma in sport management under the Olympic Committee. I did the MMA coach level 1, referee and judge course as well. So I'm very much in this sport, very, very long, since I was young.
Yeah, so, it sounds like you've got quite the range of experience in various styles, and you've kept up with a lot of professional development and education, which is really important and great to hear, of course. Now, for those who are not familiar with Mauritius, can you please tell us a little bit about the country, the sports culture, and what's the most popular combat sports in Mauritius?
Mauritius, no, it's located in the Indian Ocean. We are surrounded with the ocean. So it's said that Mauritius is the paradise of the Indian Ocean. So we are highly reputed for our hospitality. So our main, economic pillar is the tourism industry. We have nice beaches. We have the sea. People come here for the beaches and the sea. We are located around 1,200 miles off the southeast of Africa coast. Mm-hmm. And we are 2,030 square kilometers in size.
Right.
Our population is around 1.3 million people. Not big country, we're a small island. We have very good sport culture, that's for sure, because actually the government is putting much more of interest in developing sports and bring education to people, that sport is the main component to have a good life, and stay away from medicine and health issues. Right. We have very good performances in the past. We even had a bronze medal in boxing at the Olympic Games. So, as in many countries, the main sport is the football. But we have good level in various sport combat, like boxing, judo, wrestling, And since past 10 years now, MMA is in the scene. So where I started introduction of MMA in Mauritius.
Right, and I've seen a lot of the content you guys have been putting out as far as MMA on the island of Mauritius, and it's impressive. You guys are doing so much at all levels, at the community level, even trying to engage women in combat sports as a way to learn self-defense and also to compete. But I'm curious to know, what's the story behind mixed martial arts in Mauritius? Give us kind of a brief history of that development of amateur MMA in Mauritius. Also tell us, is there a professional mixed martial arts component to the scene?
Mm-hmm. So everything started in 2012. So I implemented some project with some friends, and at that time, we got to know about MMA. what we say that would be the promising sport. So over years, and I organized some kind of of events together with all other sport combat in the country, just to create a kind of synergy to understand a bit. And I was very eager to explore the sport, and since it contains all the combative combinations of different sport combat and martial arts. I saw it was a complete set of movements that covers everything in a competitive sport. As such, now you see MMA the most highly demanded sport all over the world.
Right.
At the very beginning, I was thinking that since it's a new sport with high level of complexity, we need to have a solid and well-defined structure to manage the journey of the development of the sport in a proper and professional way. So I started to practice it on the first hand and bring on board people that had great enthusiasm for the sport, who are ready to take the challenge. And in all implementation, when you implement new project, it costs eventually time, money, and over time I've seen myself alone in the journey.
Wow.
So,
right.
like that. It's not things that happen overnight.
Right.
And as you know, the implementation need kind of support at every levels, and at certain time we have no kind of facilities because we need to learn from different sources. And I traveled, I learned the sport, but the thing is that I had a strong belief that I'll be able to make MMA a recognized sport in Mauritius.
Wow.
And finally this year, we got the recognition from the Ministry of Youth and Sport. And during the development time, I had the pleasure to welcome in Mauritius Mr. August Wallen, who was founder and the first IMMAF president, who's also MMA professional fighter. So he came to Mauritius in 2015 for a seminar, and we had lots of discussion. So at the early stage, we need to understand the environment. We need to understand how to tackle certain stuff, and he was very happy to come, and he came to Mauritius, and we had an amazing time, and that's also bring like kind of strength in what I was doing. And the journey was really long. Okay, in the development process, there are lots of up and downs, especially with a new sport. Beside everyone were focusing on at that time, MMA was seen at the professional level, UFC and all the promotions.
Right.
And how to implement those level of sport in Mauritius, that was quite difficult. And since then, in order to set a strong base on the regional, national level, so the first foremost thing that we need to have the recognition of the sport. And in Mauritius, it's a very serious component. You have to go through lots of compliance with the Ministry of Sport. You have to satisfy many things. And yeah, it took me time, but as I would say, slowly but surely, I crossed the bridge. And today we can say that Mauritius, we have the MMA sport recognized by the Ministry of Sport. We have the federation. We have 15 commissions. We are focusing on different levels of development. This year, in April 2022, as I said, we got the recognition. And I can say something very special. Special thanks to IMMAF, because without the support and assistance of IMMAF, I don't think that would have been possible.
Wow. It's really interesting. I don't know if you have more to say, but I just want to quickly jump in and say it's interesting because you mentioned you started this journey in 2012. It's been 10 years now, right? It's been a decade, right, since you started the work. And as you mentioned, along the way, sometimes you described it as you were the only person in the room, right? moving things and making things happen. I'm curious to know if we can go back to the early days of the work, how receptive and the engagement with other sports, combat sports, how receptive was the community, the broader martial arts community, with your idea of like doing amateur MMA? Like when you reached out to the jiu-jitsu community, to the boxing community, to the wrestling community, this, that, and the other, were people in that circle, were they open with the concept of amateur MMA?
Yeah, because when you bring a new concept, a new project, eventually depends on how you present the project and what's your relationship with these people. And as always, everyone all together, we are friends. And when they saw the project, and I just said, okay, why not starting something together? Because we need the support of each and everyone. Okay, especially I can have a special word for the Wrestling Federation, with whom I work since very long, because I'm also the president of the Mauritius Grappling Association, who is under the Wrestling Federation. So since then, everything started. We had support from other sports, who came. We invited for our induction course, induction session for MMA, and we started some kind of exchanges in terms of competition. And I had friends who were who came from Reunion Island. Reunion Island, who's not far from Mauritius, and came to Mauritius, and we had lots of exchanges. And from there, everything started, and it was a concept that I strongly believe in it. that the strength of what you do, And at that time, people were telling me, maybe you can have it, you can do it, but why not? Don't give much of time in it. Don't put much of investment in it, because it will be very hard, difficult to get this sport recognized and get on board people, because they saw MMA as a dangerous sport, can't be accepted, because at that time it was only the professional scene. And I told them, no, we have an international body who is working hard to bring the sport from grassroots to elite level on the amateur, for the amateur. They told me, maybe, but it won't be, because every sport needs to be like seen as an Olympic structured system, and how MMA can be, because when you see what's happening outside, it's difficult. But I believe in what I was doing. I believe in that, and I had support. But I was saying, over time, you can't have people committed committed with you, like your shadow. But anything that you need to focus on what you're doing, and with dedication, with commitment, and never back out.
Wow. This is really fascinating, man. I'm listening to this, and it's incredible, because as you mentioned initially in the journey, which has taken a decade, right? There was, you mentioned the key word, a lot of synergy amongst the team to kind of unite and get things going. And as you mentioned, you believe in what you do. You had a vision. You shared it amongst the team, and you really drove that vision, and you believed it as you were going through, and you were going through the motion as far as establishing this sport in Mauritius. I'm curious to know, in the journey, were there ever moments, because it does not sound easy. So are there ever moments where you were like considering, giving up and saying, that's it, I've done my part, I'm done, as that? Did that ever cross your mind, if you don't mind me asking?
Sometimes, yes. Because why? Because sport is not my main activity. I'm a professional, so I was working, as a head of sales in one of the major financial company here in Mauritius. And it's about my passion. I was doing it after working hours, even during working hours sometimes.
Wow.
And because it was an activity that need financial support. So it was from my pocket.
Right.
So whatever event you're organizing, you need investment. But I can say I had the full support of my family. That's the main component. If your family is in the back, so definitely you have support. But I can say support in terms of of mental support. If you believe what you're doing, so I carry on what I was doing. Yeah, sometimes because see, when you put in place a system, you have people around you, and people get influenced with other stuff, and they don't come to you straight. Say, okay, you see, man, this happened, so they just leave you like that, and there's some time you hear something from right or left. So then this like sometimes touch your emotions, because we're doing something with the heart, and things like that happen. So will you believe in people next to you, or you just let go and see who are with you? Sometimes over time, I created a kind of of character, a kind of mental toughness. I gave importance to people who were giving importance to what I was doing. But just people come because I had lots of people coming around because they were see in what you do, especially in the sport, is not what the sport can bring towards you, what you can do for the development of the sport, and that's where you get the result. So you have people who come just to find out what they can get as benefits, what could be the main. So these people won't stay long with you. They won't stay long, the system, and they are automatically sent out of the scene. So yeah, that's what happened, and I but over time what happened is that I managed to build up a strong team, because out of 10 maybe 1 2 will stay with you. It's like that. Years move on. So and finally I managed to bring a very strong team. Are still with me, I can say. We're still there. So I put on a strong system. I've been able to set a defined strategy, an operation plan. I have like a executive committee. I have a board, and I have 15 commissions who are working around for the development of the sport in the country. So I can say I have a strong team now, strong base, strong structure. So the only thing now is to develop the sport.
Right. It's incredible to hear all this. It shows a lot of the dedication and leadership skills that you were able to execute and coordinate with your team. I'm curious to know, generally speaking, how receptive are the people of Mauritius to the sport of mixed martial arts?
So actually the ongoing trend is MMA.
Sorry, say that again.
The ongoing trend is MMA.
Okay.
Because it's a sport that brings along many skills, and the youth now they need they like the sport that give now kind of energy.
Right.
So people are, I can say, not leaving the sport, but they are also practicing MMA.
Nice.
Along with the initial sport they are doing. But I don't encourage people to leave the sport and come in MMA, because I don't want to create this kind of this confusion around. And they are welcome to practice MMA over time. If they see that they feel good in the sport, then they can switch. But they need to keep the base, from where they come. The respect should be there. And actually, I'm offering lots of development opportunities. We have a very reliable plan for the upcoming 10 years now.
Wow.
Because when the authority recognized a sport, so everything changed in terms of its future, in terms of the mental aspect of everyone involving the sport. It brings a kind of trust, also an encouragement to everybody. Down the line, even for the board members, athletes, officials, volunteers, the parents that bring their kids to practice the sport. So because it's now a recognized sport, so everything that we are doing now is under the authority, and we are able, because we have a budget, we have a support, and we need to be serious in what we are doing.
Right.
And as in every country, the professional scene you're there. And the sport, as I said, look like brutal and hard, but I'm focusing much on the education part, doing the amateur development from grassroots, base development, explaining the amateur rules, which is different from the professional one.
Right.
We are focusing on the safety of the sport, especially with assistance and support of IMMAF, who has a very complete professional structure. On the administrative and technical part, we are focusing a lot. And as I said, the safety should be the main component of the sport.
Right.
And we are showing a career path under the IMMAF career path, okay, for the athletes, for the coaches, for the officials, referee judges, and even for volunteers and everyone who want to get involved in the sport. Everyone who are not also practicing the sport, I'm welcoming them to come and support, at various levels. We can have the help, everybody.
Very cool. I'm really curious to know, in terms of competition, how have mixed martial arts artists from Mauritius, how have they competed at the most recent? How have they performed? Pardon me, at the most recent IMMAF African Championship? Because I remember when I looked at the list of countries, I'm just being brutally honest here. When I looked at the list of countries, I was like, "Wow, Mauritius is sending, a team." Because it's like if it's a small island nation as you mentioned, in the Indian Ocean, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. Like this small island nation that has 1 million people plus, maybe just as you mentioned, is representing and sending competitors and athletes to a major international or continental championship. It's a huge exposure, I think, in a way for the island as far as marketing and promotion, right? Do you know what I mean? It's really putting Mauritius on the island. And I'm interviewing you. This is the Combat Sports in Africa podcast. I'm actually in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. I'm interviewing you all the way from Canada to speak about Mauritius. And it goes to show, it's a small world, but and the fact that, when countries send athletes to represent, it connects these athletes to a global community. So to go back to the question, how did the athletes perform at the IMMAF African Championships?
I can say they had an amazing performance, okay, because it was their first participation in an international championship. When talking about the competition, so here in Mauritius, I introduced the trial fight on a monthly level for people to get to get a taste of competition.
Right.
It's like 2 minutes, 3 minutes, people will jump and just have a kind of trial, and this creates a kind of enthusiasm for the next session. But it's the first trial that we organized. We had around 25 participants, and second one we got around 40.
Wow.
It keeps on, because we need to prepare the people mentally, physically, and they need to build up the trust in themselves that they can jump in a competition, not just throw some people in an area and just fight. So they should also be used to the rules, and they need also to get used to the environment. So we start trial fights, and which is doing very good, because it's a kind of development also for the athletes, just to get the taste of competition. And from there, I said, okay, why not bring some athletes in the championship? We need to be in the championship, and we got the preparation, and the athletes were very eager to be in the event, and we got a bronze medal. We brought back a bronze medal.
Wow!
And it was their first participation, and they came back. I can say strongly, because they learn a lot. They learn a lot regarding the environment, regarding the how the championship was organized.
Right.
And the very thing is that at the training, at the preparation level, it's another thing when you're entering the cage.
Right.
Okay. At the time, told me that the door is closed, and now they have to decide, they have to do, and they have to to work. So
Right.
and that's where they grow. That's where they grow. They need to take decisions. They need to move. And I can say with this participation, that has created a kind of energy with other athletes. Also now to be in the challenge next year. So it's growing it's growing the team is growing at every level, and when you're participating in an international competition, sometimes you see that you're making dreams of people become real.
Wow.
And other people sometimes they may think, yeah, we can participate, but will we be able to participate? And when we did it for them, so it's something that really happened.
Right.
And I know other people, the coaches, even the athletes who were having a kind of, I don't say disinterest, but a low enthusiasm for the sport, for the progression. Now I can say it's growing. It's growing. And I can say maybe in a couple of years, you will see the scene in Mauritius, how it will be.
Fascinating, man. How much more time do I have with you? Because right now, I think we have. Do we have another 20 minutes or so?
Yeah. I'm free. Yeah. Now
Okay.
I'm okay. No problem for the.
Perfect. Awesome. So this is really interesting. You're essentially creating an opportunity for these athletes to really test themselves and compete. And as you mentioned, the team brought a bronze medal back, which is a huge achievement. Considering this is their first ever continental tournament, the IMMAF African Championship. I'm curious to know, what was the was there media reception, or was there on the marketing and communication front? What was the local media telling these stories about these athletes?
Yeah. We had kind of coverage from the media.
Nice.
We have a great support from the media.
Excellent.
Who follow the development of MMA in Mauritius. And because when you're doing something serious and you are consistent in your progression, definitely the media is following you.
Absolutely.
And you need to be serious in what you're doing, and you need to commit to what you're doing, and that's where the media will be behind you and support. And you can see you post on the social media or the newspapers report writing. So they support us a lot. I can say that.
Yeah, and it must be great for the morale of these athletes and competitors, right? To see that they're being recognized within their communities at a national and international level. Now, I'm curious to know, what are some of the challenges and opportunities to developing the sport of amateur mixed martial arts in Mauritius? You've been at this for a decade, and I'm sure you've experienced all aspects, the ups and downs in making this happen. What are the challenges and what are the opportunities?
See, the opportunities, we have a lot, that's for sure, because it's a sport that brings eventually lots of openings for everyone who are involved in the sport. Regarding the challenges, we do have challenges. First of all, regarding the equipments. And what I did, I ordered our own equipment. I can show you, that's the branded one. So we have our Mauritius, gloves, so which I ordered.
By the way, sorry, I just want to say, I love that flag, the Mauritius flag. The colors are they're awesome, man.
Also we have our shin guards, all this stuff. So the basic thing that we need to have equipment. So you practice sport without proper equipment. That's what I tell to people. You need to get yourself the best equipment to be able to progress professionally in the sport. I ordered the equipments. We have challenges regarding the financial aspect, because it's lots of investment.
Sure.
And sponsors at the coaching level, because it's a new sport. So coaches need to be, to be trained. and that's why in the coming month, so I'm having Andrew Bokashov coming to Mauritius.
Oh wow! Okay.
There, we have a coach course on the 8th and 9th of November.
Wow.
A full-fledged course. We had our referee and judges course back in 2017. Yeah, I got 6 people who got trained, who got their certificate, level C referee and judges course. Because at that time I need to fix upon the regulations, the rules. That's why we started with the rules aspect.
Mm.
And other challenges is athletes don't have much of events.
They don't have much what, sir?
Events.
So, right.
Yeah, because to be able to progress, you need to have lots of activities, lots of championships, lots of events for athletes to progress. And that's why I'm putting in place a Indian Ocean MMA working team.
Wow.
Comprises of Mauritius, Réunion, Seychelles, Madagascar, Mayotte, and Como.
Wow.
So I already
so that's 6, right? Sorry, is that
islands.
Yeah. Okay, 6 islands. Interesting.
Last month I was in Réunion Island, so I met our friends over there, and Seychelles already member of IMMAF. The Réunion Island is under the French Federation.
Mm.
Madagascar recently got the approval from IMMAF. Mauritius, now I'm working towards Como and Mayotte to get eventually recognized by IMMAF, who is coming. Definitely, they are working on that. So everyone will be under the IMMAF regulations, and we can have lots of events, lots of things we can do in the region, where athletes will have the national, regional championship, national championship.
Right.
We can have events in the region, Indian Ocean. Then we have the Africa platform. Then we have the world platform. So I'm creating a kind of, I'm the driving force of the development of MMA in the region. So we need to go.
That is a brilliant idea as far as having. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that zone there, with those 6 islands or so, to have that activity there is a great opportunity, right, for fighters to compete and stay active and continuously refine their skills. I'm sorry if I cut you off there. Please continue.
I'm saying that we need to have more interactions, and also the officials, the referee and judges, also need to have. To get lots of practices regarding their skills. So that's why we need to, because we are very far from what's happening in Europe and America.
Right.
That costs a lot for athletes to move over there. That's why I want to bring the stuff to the region. And we are coming this month, early this month, with another project, the Scuffle Fight Week, with the help of Scuffle Media. So we have Jason Skalvik and the team. So we started the project since last year, and finally we are coming with the event in early November. We are having the PFL, Africa series.
Wow!
So there's a selection that will be done throughout Africa. So we have the Africa professional MMA, and at the same time, I put an undercard for amateur one. So we have Mauritius against Réunion Island at the starting of the event. So 4 fights, just to create the synergy, just to create the mental stuff. So we are having that on the 5th of November. So we have a week of activities, the press conference, the rallies, and the weigh-in. So just to starting the strong movement of MMA in the region.
I really hope you guys are going to push a lot of content on social media for us to see and consume.
We had recently the Grapple Fest last month.
Right.
Okay, in here the top level athletes, So our athletes here got lots of interaction experience, and this was amazing, amazing moment, because it's difficult for them to meet these people. So
Right.
what I'm doing now, I'm bringing the opportunity here in the region. So now people need to take advantage of that and develop.
Man, you're really making a lot of things happen at all levels, right? It's monumental. How do you manage your time? You sound like a very busy person. How do you manage all these different projects that are happening? It seems like at the same time. How do you do it?
Yeah, see, first of all, you need to have this management skill. I'm
Right.
a professional in the management, and I'm still studying. I'm doing my MBA.
Nice.
At the same time, I'm managing my business. So I have my
Right.
own business. So I have now, MMA has become like my main activity.
Right.
That's what at what's happening actually. And so we need to have a kind of a proper. If you are clear in your mind about what you are doing, so everything is fine in terms of movement in what you're doing. So
Right.
you need to have a clear vision of your development, and everything should be planned beforehand. You can't just wake up one day and say, okay, I'll do this, I'll do that. It should be an ongoing development project for you not to get lost on the way.
Right, for sure. But what's interesting is it seems like to me as I'm listening you to speak, as I'm hearing you speak about all this, it seems like a lot of things are connecting. There's a lot of momentum that's generated, and it appears like many things are lining up for
happening at the same time.
Yeah, for Mauritius, of course, as far as MMA, but it's not just Mauritius; it's the region. Like Comoros, Reunion Island, Madagascar, like that whole zone is really you're engaging and enabling a lot of development outside of your own country, which is remarkable. I also wanted to know in terms of IMMAF. You mentioned IMMAF. You're working with them. You're engaging with them and so on. What are your thoughts on actually let me go back, pardon me, let me go back. What are your impressions on amateur and professional mixed martial arts in Africa as a whole? Well, what are your thoughts? Because you're in a really, you sit in a very interesting position. As president, you get to see what's happening in Mauritius, in your zone outside of Mauritius, and also on the continent of Africa. Well, what are your thoughts on African MMA?
I can say MMA in Africa is very, very promising. That's for sure. It's clearly seen, let's say an example, Israel Adesanya, let's say Francis Ngannou, let's say Usman. Okay, they got to get out of Africa to shine in the sport. Do you think we don't have other similar talents, but not everybody got the chance, or we need to take the risk to go out of Africa and to move out of Africa and take the challenge? No? That's why we need to work in bringing the opportunity to Africa. I know my friends who are doing amazing work at every moment because we talk every day. So I can say Africa is untapped territory for MMA, and that's why we have now the Africa MMA Confederation, and I was nominated as the president for the Africa MMA Confederation. So we have put in place a committee with different director in different zones. We have a managing committee, and we are coming up with strategies to shape the MMA scene in a professional way. Okay, so we are coming up with lots of development to support the sport in the continent. We have an opportunity, and we need to seize this opportunity and to help each and everyone out there. When I say out there, it's we are also part of Africa, and to bring opportunities to our athletes, to our leaders, and also we need to do the effort for IMMAF to help us. And
Right.
IMMAF is ready to help us. Is ready to help us, and they are there. They'll be here, and they will always be there to give us all the support. But we need to do our effort to make the MMA, one of the best sports in the continent. But the professional aspect also, it's moving very fast. But something very important, we need to have a strong base to be able to manage for the development. If there's no
Right.
base, it's like, a Far West situation. Everyone will do whatever they want, and they will definitely, bring damage to the sport.
Very interesting, because you speak about athletes leaving the continent to go abroad to get success, but what you're doing, your approach is you're trying to create opportunities for success to be for talent to stay in Africa and compete in Africa. So it's a lot about ownership, it's a lot about responsibility, right, and enabling success. Curious to know, what are your thoughts on you mentioned IMMAF a few times, of course, just now. What are your thoughts on IMMAF's work overall in Africa? If you could speak to us about that.
See, IMMAF is an essential platform, okay? And IMMAF has proved during the past 10 years of existence from where it was and what the Federation has achieved and able to do for the MMA community globally. It's clearly seen. So we are extremely proud to be under IMMAF and work under IMMAF. And we are hooked with the future development of IMMAF. Could be at the administrative part, athletes development, youth development, coaching development, referee judges, officials. So IMMAF have got eventually all the professionals around to help everyone, or the federation. And the main aspect is that everyone dream is to see MMA in the Olympics.
Right.
And I have no doubt that one day we'll see it. That's for sure, because we know the plan, that the work that IMMAF is doing, because we have amazing people who are with great vision, at the highest level of the federation, who work with passion, dedication for the sport. It's seen because recently we had the WADA recognition. It's one step towards the recognition of the sport. The thinking heads of IMMAF, I think they don't sleep. Just they just kind of thinking about development, future, and eventually assisting each and everyone at federation level. So without IMMAF, I don't think MMA would have been where it is today. That's the thing that we should agree on that. And the president, Troy Brown, with all the team around, I think they are, and their contribution, their support, the development they are bringing, their intelligence, their knowledge, that's amazing.
I absolutely agree. They're doing incredible work, and it's great to hear that it's developing everywhere, right? It's developing everywhere. In the Americas, it's developing obviously in Europe, in Asia, and also in Africa and Oceania, and it's a global movement for the development, and it's awesome to hear that. Now I'm curious, as president of MMA Mauritius, what's your vision for sports, for the sport of amateur MMA in Mauritius? Because you mentioned that you have a 10-year plan, right? You're forward looking, you do have a vision clearly. Tell us about it.
My first objective was to get the sport recognized when I started, and now it's done. And now we need to step another plan to get the sport recognized. So there has been lots of work that has been done. Based on what has been done, based on the strong base that we have, now we need to focus for the 10 years coming. And so second objective is to settle a strong amateur base, because since you got recognition, now the challenge is much more higher, right? Because you need to comply with lots of regulations that have been put in place according to the Sports Act. You need to respect all the aspects. You need to respect eventually what's coming up from the from the expectation of athletes, of board members, of everyone. And I'm creating a scene now whereby athletes need to see their career path in the sport. So that's the second aspect of the development. Because you practice a sport for what purpose and what is your future in the sport. So now our role now is to show people when they're stepping in the sport, so where you can be in 5 years, in 10 years. If really you bring passion, you bring dedication, and you do stuff that has to be done. But at the same time, we need to cater for people who want to practice the sport at leisure and recreational level. Because they need also to practice MMA, as we have also under IMMAF the belt progression. Right. So those who want to compete, so they got also under platform to progress in terms of belt promotion. So now our role is to settle down a strong base for the amateur elite. But at the same time, as you said earlier, we need to have connecting plans that will eventually bring further progression. So at the same time, I'm progressing at the professional level. So we are bringing professional events in Mauritius, so people can see that, okay, if I'm stepping seriously, so because to step in the professional promotion, it's not something easy. But if it's coming to your country, so definitely the opportunity will be there. So at the same time, I would say it's a multitasking. We need to be able to to adjust, to control, to manage, to do delegation of responsibilities, to bring people on board and train them on what they have to do, and eventually educate people who are not used to the sport, do not know the sport. So there are lots of stuff that you're doing just to create this synergy, because Mauritius, I can see, will be the driving force of MMA in the region. You see, we need to have a vision in what we are doing. It's not like, one shot you're doing like this and don't know what's happening tomorrow. So my vision is to bring MMA to the highest level in Mauritius first, and secondly, the region, and thirdly, a driving force, not only for the sport, but at different levels, economic development, tourism, business, bilateral trade, and see how Mauritius eventually through the sport, because the only sport that bringing attention actually is MMA, and we have maybe investors can come to Mauritius, all this stuff. So that's why I'm proposing to the government, because the project that's coming up on 5th of November, we are also having the sponsorship of the EDB, the Economic Development Board.
Wow.
So I'm doing the progression, I'm doing the development in a very strategical way. It's not only the sport at amateur level and have stuff and not know what's happening, what will come in future. So I'm having a very a very set plans for the sport, for the people in the sport, for the region, for the country, and every aspect coming together will eventually bring a kind of result that will be amazing.
Yeah, it sounds very amazing, and it's you're laying the foundation for a lot of positive growth and development and momentum, and I'm really curious to see how things unravel in the coming years, because clearly you have a vision, you have a plan, and you're implementing it, and you're creating opportunities for athletes, but for the entire country, quite frankly, because now if you're speaking economic development, tourism, and making that sport in that country kind of like a destination, it's a win-win for all. I really appreciate your time. I'm really enjoying this conversation, and I will be following this story closer as we move on. So I'm hoping to interview you some more and athletes from your country in the coming months or so. So please let me know about that. I have one last question for you. Ma dernière question. What words, si tu veux, tu peux le parler. Ouais, on peut parler un peu en français si tu veux.
C'est bien, ouais, en français si tu veux.
OK, alors la dernière question, puis tu peux répondre en français et aussi en anglais, s'il vous plaît. Oui. So that the last question, if you can answer in French and also in English, what words of advice, wisdom, or encouragement would you share with any aspiring African amateur MMA artist, coach, or promoter of the sport?
Before answering this question, let me tell you another thing as well, is that next year you will have also the Brave Championship in Mauritius.
Wow.
Yeah, I represent the KHK, which is under the Highness Sheikh Khalid.
Right.
Okay. Donc, next year we'll have Brave Combat Federation to Mauritius. And
wow.
Hopefully the Prince will be in Mauritius as well.
That's hopefully incredible. That is incredible.
Yeah. So coming to your question, one thing I will say that the work will never end as challenges keep on coming all the ways.
Right.
That's something they never end, because the more you progress, the more the level move up, so the more work you have. So it's an non-ending, responsibility that we have been taken. So I will advise everyone to be the best in what you do. That's the first thing. There should be a high degree of discipline, commitment, dedication, passion, and which is most importantly, recognition from where you come from, which is very important. Because sometimes, people just forget about from where they come. And over time, they lose sight of where they have to go.
Right.
I've seen many people, suffer from this. For the coaches, I have something to say, that to give opportunities to the right athletes. Do everything that you can do to help athletes, people who are interested in bringing their time in the sport, because that's what they have to do and we have to do. And I don't say it's like that, but it's important to know that we should not take advantage of weak situation of those who are willing to support and need assistance. As everything that you do come back to you.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we need to give opportunity to people with your heart and dedication, and that's the only way that you will see the sport will grow. So yeah, we are putting our time. We're expecting the outcome of what we are doing. Maybe people put lots of expectation in what they do, but when you're developing a sport, I don't think you should have lots of expectation. You should see what you can bring for the sport, what you can bring for the people, and especially what you can bring for your country. And that's from there you will get the outcome of what you're doing. Because let people talk about you than you talk about yourself.
Right.
That's the we say the pleasure you have when you see the development. People are enjoying, people are progressing, people are getting their living of what you have done, what you have created. For me, that's the main, the pleasure that I have when I see people progressing. I see coaches, they're working, they're getting their living and that, and basically their family also are happy. So you have a nice environment, a great society. So that's our role. That's the message I have.
That's incredible words right there, and it's very interesting to hear your the way you're approaching this sport, the way you're developing it. I can appreciate how much thinking has gone into it and how much planning, with strategic goals in mind. It's I think Mauritius is very lucky to have you involved in its sports development, because you're making a hell of a lot of things happen on a positive side, and it's a lot of milestones are being reached. So it's great to see, and congratulations on all these achievements and more continued success. I want to thank you very much for joining us. And sharing all this great information. And I do look forward, as I mentioned, to doing some follow-up interviews with you and possibly some of your athletes and competitors. So I will leave you with that. Thank you very much for your time, sir.
But I will thank you as well for your time, the dedication as well for the sport, and what's happening in Africa, because we need also your help, your support, people like you, to bring eventually forward of what we are doing, what people are doing. So this is another kind of passion that you are showing to us, and this is where our encouragement come from. When you people see what we are doing, appreciate what we are doing, and definitely. We need to take the challenge and bring much more effort to shine in the continent and make everyone proud of being part of the Africa continent.
Definitely, man. It's a pleasure speaking with you, and I hope I get to do this more often with many other people involved in amateur MMA on the continent of Africa and beyond.
Mais pour terminer, je te dirais merci beaucoup et un salut spécial à tous mes amis de l'Afrique. Et donc, comme on dit, le travail continue. On doit quand même doubler notre effort, mettre en place beaucoup plus de coopération, beaucoup plus de synergie, à ce qu'on devienne une force incontournable sur le continent africain. C'est sûr et certain. Je suis sûr, et je suis sûr aussi avec ta contribution, ton support, on y arrivera, c'est sûr.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much for this. It's been great, sir. Have a wonderful day. Take care.
Very much. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.